Okay, so now that you have the basic concept of how to do a granny square, I'm going to show you how to do a magic ring and add different colors. So, to do a magic ring, the method that I use is I take the tail and I pinch it between my thumb and the knuckle of my first finger. I put 2 fingers out and I create an X. So from this left, I'm going up and to the right, and then this yarn is going down and around, so that way you can see it's just a straight line there. And then from the right lower corner up to the upper left, and then I hold the yarn with my ring finger. I take my hook, go under the X and kind of go towards the center of the top, and I take it and turn it and pull that working yarn out towards the fingertips. Once it's out a little bit, I take and I twist the head so it creates that twist, and then I yarn over and pull through that loop that I had just made. There we go, and then you can release. So this ring here is just like our chain 5 ring, and we're just gonna work around it. The tail can be twisted around, or you can pull it out and leave it to work behind if it's a little bit confusing. So either way, you can even crochet over both or just the one. So either way that you do it, it will still work. So we're gonna chain 3 to count as our first double crochet, and we're gonna make a cluster. So we're gonna do 2 more double crochet into this ring. Okay, then we're gonna chain 2 to make a corner, and we're going to do another set of 3 double crochet. Okay, and then chain 2 to make another corner, and 3 double crochet or a cluster. Okay, chain 2 and another cluster of double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to drop my hook and my work. I'm going to leave it in there, and I'm going to take the tail, and I just kind of, for stability, put my finger on the work and pull. So that way it closes up that ring, and as it closes up, you can see it's creating this square. So now I'm gonna slip stitch to the top of my chain 3s. There's 1 chain, 2 chain, 3 chain. So this is where I'm gonna stick my hook, yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop. Okay, now I'm gonna add a different color, so I'm going to fasten off. So I'm gonna cut my yarn, and then I'm gonna pull a loop through and out to create that knot. Okay, so for the next color, I am going to join to the right of where we fasten off. So you always want to join in a chain space. So you would join to the right of where you're at. So what you would do is attach your yarn to your hook with a slip knot. So just like a regular slip knot, like you're going to crochet a row. And then what you do is go through this corner and pull a loop up, and you want to pull it through the loop that was on your hook, and all that does is just attach it. So then you would chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you've got your first double crochet of your cluster for that corner. So remember, the corner space is a cluster, chain 2, cluster. So that's what I'm going to do. Chain 2 and 1, 2, and 3. And this is our second row. So for the third row, we're going to need to do a side cluster. So we need to do a chain 1 space to create an area for that cluster to go into. And then we'll just go right into a corner. First cluster, chain 2, and another cluster. Chain 1 to create that space, and then go ahead and do another cluster, chain 2 cluster in the corner space. Chain 2. Okay, chain 1 to create that space for the center cluster of the next row, and then go right into another set of corner clusters. So cluster, chain 2, and cluster. And you're going to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch at the top of your chain 3. So there's the top of mine. Yarn over, pull through the chain and the loop. There you go. And then you just fasten off. Okay. Now to join your third color, you're going to do the same thing, and you're just going to go to the right of where you joined. So we're going to join right here, and this is a side cluster. So the side is just a set of 3. So I'm going to pull up a loop, pull it through the loop that's on my hook, and I'm going to chain 3, which is the first double crochet of my cluster. And I'm going to put 2 double crochet into this chain 1 space from the previous round. Okay, once it's there, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do a corner cluster. So cluster, chain 2 cluster into this space right here, the corner space. And if you were to continue on more than 3 rounds, the chain 1 space in between the center and the corner is creating a space for the next round to grow outwards. So you're just increasing by doing that chain 1. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1 and do your cluster of 3 into that center of the chain 1 space. So in granny squares, you just really ignore the stitches and work into the chain spaces. Chain 1, and we're going to do a corner cluster again. Chain 2, okay, and then chain 1 and create that side cluster. Chain 2, and a set of 3 double crochet to finish out the corner clusters. Okay, chain 1, we do our center for our side cluster, chain 1, and complete that last corner cluster. Now once you have this corner cluster complete, you're going to chain 1 and join to the beginning chain 3 of the side or the center cluster. So there's my last double crochet of that, chain 1, and then here we go, there's 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go through the chain there, pull a loop through, and out. And that's done. So I'm going to snip off my end and pull it close. So then all you need to do is just weave in your ends. Because granny squares, when you change colors, do have a lot of ends. You can crochet over them, like run them behind, but there's a risk of seeing the different colors. So I always wait to the end and then weave in my ends. So there you go. That's color changes with a magic ring, and then the chain 5 ring with 1 color. So you got 2 squares done. If you'll just do 2 more, you can practice doing 1 color and then also color changes. So that way you have 4 for the next class.